This episode brought to you by racism. Did you know that racism is a thing? Did you know that America has a history of oppression of people of color? Did you know that was a thing? Racism. It's everywhere. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
I just took a stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. Hey!
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts each week are me, Bryce Hanson, Dr. Bryce Hanson to you. I hold a PhD in spookology, and across from me sits...
I'm Professor David Day. I'm the foremost expert in scare no-nos.
Each week on Wednesday, we review a new horror movie. We give priority to new releases, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I just want to clarify, I feel like we should have a segment at the beginning of the show that says we explain ourselves to one-star reviews.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
Because
I feel like we don't get into the show fast enough. I'm constantly feel like people are like, just talk about the fucking movie.
Right. The Forever Purge. We're going to talk about the Forever Purge. We're going to talk about it. The shitty movie.
Oh my God. I can't even hide my hatred for this dumb movie. Like, I can't even wait until the part where we get to the review and be like, this movie's unironically a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, before we do that, I just want to explain ourselves to it. A one-star review. What happens whenever I get a one-star review, I'm like, oh, well, they fundamentally misunderstand something.
Oh, really? I go, oh, they're right. What is my
Well,
life?
yeah, that too. But the recent one-star review is like, you guys call yourselves experts? Like, you guys always talk about how you haven't seen this movie or that movie, and like you get facts wrong. We're being ironic. We're not actually.
You can't tell.
We don't actually have doctorates in spookology.
Yeah, it's not you might be surprised to find out that being a professor of scare no-nos, that's not my actual job. Mm-hmm. I leave that to the real professors of scare no-nos. I'm just stealing their valor.
The real explanation, and this is like, let's explain the joke, is there's so many podcasts that intro like, we don't know anything. We're just
two horror noobs.
Yeah. To where it's to the point where that's not interesting at all. Like, what's the point of saying we're just amateurs? Yeah. So it's more interesting to say that you're the experts, that you're like the actual, authority.
Here's the thing.
It.
I haven't seen a ton of tentpole classic horror movies. And
you haven't even seen the Indiana Jones franchise until a couple weeks ago.
Look, we're all imperfect people. And if you're going to come up here and tell me that you're a fucking horror, you're the best, you're like the most knowledgeable horror person ever, like, good on you. But not everybody is that. And you know what? I'll tell you what, if you're the most knowledgeable horror movie person out there, where's your podcast, bro?
Yeah. Show me a podcaster that has seen every horror movie since, like, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Okay, there's enough salt in this episode already. We don't need to add to
Anyways, in short, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
So we're going to be reviewing the Forever Purge. But before we get into that, before we get into the actual episode where people actually want to listen to us, we want to tell you about our great community on Facebook, the Horror Movie Talk group. And you should know that we just have the best fans
They're so cool.
out there. It's just one of the best communities, and honestly, some people find the podcast through the community.
Yeah.
And they talk about like how great it is.
Yeah.
Like just being able to find like a bunch of like-minded, non-pretentious horror fans.
Yeah, check out that Facebook group. It's a big thing. People love it. Big news. This coming Saturday the 10th, we will be hosting our normal second Saturday watch party. But what's abnormal about this second Saturday watch party is it's going to be on we're going to host it on a new platform called Stream Lounge, and you can find them on streamlounge.io. Go make an account on there, and then go and make an account, and that's a free account, and that's just to watch our stream, our Netflix, or not Netflix. This is going to be a Shudder party. So the other thing you're going to need to do is go on to shudder.com, use that code HMT at checkout to lock in your 30 free days, your 30-day free trial. So everything's free. And what are we going to watch? We're going to watch
Psycho Gorman.
Psycho Gorman. Yes. We're going to watch that. And the cool thing about streamlounge.io is you're going to be able to see us, and we're going to be able to actually add our commentary on top of the movie. And streamlounge.io has agreed to actually sponsor this event. So they're going to be plugging us. So expect more people even than normal to show up.
Yeah, and
this is going to be part of their summer thrills and chills thing.
Yeah. Like the benefit of going to this other platform, it's new, it's, you know,
it's literally made for this.
Yeah. The benefit is like we'll have the recordings afterwards, so you'll be able to, even if you don't come to the live show, which you should.
Yeah.
You can watch it later.
But not only that, they support Netflix, they support Disney Plus, we're going to be on Disney Plus a lot for these watch parties, by the way. So they support Shudder. This is going to be
Escape to Witch Mountain.
Right.
Part 2. You should, well, there's lots of stuff to check out. The best way to find it is on our website at horrormovietalk.com, but check us out on Twitch.
Toss us a line, get a hold of us by calling 682-253-4468. That gets you through to our voicemail where you can man up and give us your 1-star review actually on there instead of being a little fucking bitch. Or you could call the Bodily Fluids Exchange at 252-228-4628.
Just one plug, since I mentioned a 1-star review, please, if you have Apple Podcasts and you haven't, leave us
rating.
A good review if you can, to stomp down some of those 1-star reviews that we've been getting recently. If you're a fan of the show, if you're not, like, we still love you, but call the voicemail and tell us personally.
Yeah, just don't be a bitch.
Yeah,
because anybody gives us a 1-star review, you little bitch. You are. You know you are.
We got a great show. We start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And later, we're going to have a special guest, one of our patrons, Elias.
Yeah, Elias is going to be coming on, and we're going to be talking to him. He has been supporting us quite heftily, and part of one of his benefits is he as supporting us for such a high amount is he gets to come on the show, plug his business, talk about, shoot the shit with us about horror movies, and so we're going to be calling Elias here at the end of the show.
And he's a blacksmith.
Yeah.
So my inner mall ninja is very,
very
excited to talk to him.
Which one of these are we going to ditch? We could ditch the horror segment.
We're not going to ditch anything. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
Later we'll be doing Let's Make It Better, a new bit that I made specifically for this movie.
Oh, how to make this movie better.
Yeah, let's rewrite the Forever Purge to make it a better movie.
Oh, well, I have a Bic lighter in my pocket. Could we just light the script on fire and then throw it in a dumpster?
And then later we'll be listening to our voicemail on a segment we call Horror Movie Whoooores. So we went and saw The Forever Purge. It's newly released in theaters, and it was nuanced and subtle. Here's the trailer.
The annual purge will conclude in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for your participation.
We survived.
All police and emergency services have been reinstated. All crime, including murder, is now illegal.
Come on, let's get to work. One night only. Rest of the year is peaceful.
Help me! Help me! The purge is over, please!
No, it ain't.
This is insane. Nobody hear the sirens?
There's no crime anymore. Anything goes.
You rich can't hide behind your steel walls no more. Powerless. How's that feel? This is the real purge. The Forever Purge!
Hurry up! They're coming! Come on! Follow me!
There's nowhere safe to go. No way to get help.
Oh my god.
We gotta find another way to get out of here.
This country's gonna collapse.
Mexico is opening its borders for the next 6 hours.
Let's go.
We're in this together.
Speak!
Does this translate?
Oh, man. Man, I'm getting chills thinking about how much of a boner I have for this great, great movie. Chills.
The Forever Purge can be found in theaters now. What can I say about the Forever Purge that hasn't already been said by its title? Like the previous movies in the Purge franchise, the government of the United States has set aside each year 12 hours where all its citizens struggle with bulimia. No, wait, that's wrong. For 12 hours, all crime is legal, including murder. However, they don't talk about any other crime.
This was an exact note that I wrote down in my notebook. I was like, can we get a Purge movie that's just the petty crimes unit?
Right.
PCU.
Yeah.
The Purge, PCU. The petty crimes unit.
In this movie, the citizens can't overcome their urge to purge and continue on their killing spree in a clumsy analogy of Trump's America. It follows a group of recent Mexican immigrants and several of their white employers as they try to escape the murderous hordes of racists. This movie wasn't good. From the other Purge movies that I've seen, it feels like the franchise came up with the concept of the film and then proceeded to have absolutely no creativity after that point. And this film is no exception. Like, honestly, like it's a very interesting premise, and there's any number of ways you can go with it, but they only focus on murder.
The potential for nuance and interesting ideas in this is vast. Mm-hmm. And had it been handled by someone, I don't know, intelligent or with an eye for subtlety, maybe like Jordan Peele or right. Then this would be a good movie, right. Probably.
The Forever Purge handles social commentary like The Family Guy handles jokes. It points out that racism, xenophobia, and classism are things. Yeah. See how clever we are?
It goes, did you know? It's like some sort of weird commercial for remember those The More You Know commercials that would come on Saturday morning? That's this movie over and over again. It's like racism. It exists. It's like, the more you know. White people. They're the worst. I know that. I'm a huge racist against white. I hate them.
Yeah, if you compared this to This Is Your Brain on Drugs, that advertisement, that advertisement was 100 times more subtle.
Oh, yeah.
Than this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie just, and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's an hour and 45 minutes.
It's insane. To its credit, I was shocked to see that it was an hour and 40 minutes because I didn't necessarily... I felt like I should be more miserable with how bad the movie was and with how long the runtime was. Somehow it was like it was so numbing and disengaging that I didn't even check the clock.
Which was better? Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead or this?
Ugh.
That's tough, right?
That's pretty rough.
That's tough.
I think this one's better.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
Doesn't try to be more than it can be.
By the way, if you head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/horrormovietalk, you can listen to our review of Army of the Dead if you enter our $33 a month tier, and you get a bunch of access. You get access to a bunch of other like Cabin in the Woods, Brain Dead, Basket Case, movies we only review and release on Patreon.
You know, we're gonna talk about that in the mid-roll.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, then now we don't have to.
Let's see. The writing's bad to the point where I wonder if there was ever more than one draft. Every character is there to deliver lines that state what they're going to do next, just so the audience is prepared.
Or what's happening right now.
For what the character is going to do next.
They're shooting at us. Lots of that. Lots of, like, as they're shooting. Like, as blaring pistol shots ring through the air, you have some man or woman scream, "They're shooting at us!" And you're like, God damn it.
I have two examples that just made me, and they were towards the end of the movie. Then I'm just like, this is the best. Like, is that line even worth stating? Anyways. The action is probably the only good thing about the movie. There was a big enough budget to have plenty of explosions and shootouts, and you can definitely feel the influence of producer Michael Bay in here. But it doesn't overcome the lack of creativity or writing throughout the entire movie. Overall, the impression you get from this movie is that it was written by a 17-year-old drama student attempting their first draft or their first script inspired by The Handmaid's Tale. They watched the first episode of Handmaid's Tale and they're like, I can do better. Like, listen to this edgy horror movie idea about...
This is just clumsy. This movie is clumsy and ham-handed and says, like, attempts to be with it. You know, it's like we can. Here's something we can all agree on: that racism exists and that it's bad. And while that is true, it's also completely non-nuanced and could be handled in interesting ways. You know, check out Get Out or Us. Or
check out Them on Amazon Prime.
Check
Holy
out
shit.
Them. I'm not a big fan of Them, but it handled the concept in a way more interesting way than the Forever Purge did. And this movie was just, it felt like bludgeoning you in the face with a sledgehammer of unnuanced teenager opinions about how things are bad. And it's like, okay, America's bad. And it's like, okay, but, and?
Yeah.
So what? It's just bad. Mexico's better. It's like, okay, that cool idea. Let's flesh that out. No! No. And fuck you for asking me to. Like, it did feel like a lot of fuck you for asking me to.
Yeah. The other thing about the movie is that it was originally slated to release in July 2020, which would have been slightly more timely. I mean, if you think about it, like,
I guess
the riot at the Capitol in January happened, and that it basically is commenting kind of on that of like, let's take this movement and like not play by the rules in a movie that's about there's no rules for a certain amount of time. So it's a little like putting a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
You know? So,
what score do you give this piece of shit?
Yeah. Coming out of the theater, I was being pretty generous, and I was going to give it a 4 out of 10 because it's still a movie. I mean, it's still like has all the moving parts, and it wasn't insulting. However much like I'm talking about how bad and like non-nuanced and kind of dumb the whole thing is, it never made me angry that I was watching it. It just made me, I just didn't care. But it's also not good enough to be like average.
Here's why it should make people mad. Is because it's trying to get a bunch of free points by just being on a team. It's trying, but the team that it's on is an important team, which is the idea of like that racism exists and that America has some problems, a lot of problems with this. But you don't just get points for showing up and being like, me too. I also agree with this thing.
Hashtag me too.
And that's what it tries to do. It tries to get a bunch of free points by ponying on to an important topic that is much more nuanced than this movie is capable of handling.
Yeah.
And so fuck this stupid movie for just conflating something important and then being like, so give us your money though. Come watch The Purge and be and fuck, fuck America. Right. It's like, okay, but why?
Yeah, give me a little foreplay before we fuck America.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean this is almost like a subgenre in the last year or two of like the commentary on political divide. Like there was The Hunt.
Yeah.
There's this movie. End of list. But enough of it is like, okay,
them.
We get like an impacted asshole full of like commentary in the media about political divide. Like there's no need for a movie about it, especially a movie as poorly written as this one.
I think there's plenty of need for a movie about it, but if it's handled well,
right.
That's my problem with this movie is like it just is ponies on to this important idea, this important concept as a cash grab. It's cheap and it's gross, and you shouldn't reward that.
Well, yeah, I mean we're talking about Hollywood, so there's not really a lot of nuance, and nuance is not necessarily rewarded when it comes to political topics. Mm-hmm. Like I think about, okay, what are movies that were respected and talked about like this concept kind of, and there's an Academy Award winning movie that I posit is the worst Best Picture winner of all time, which is Crash.
Oh, yeah, you hate Crash.
Crash is... I almost wonder if it's written by the same writers as The Forever Purge. It was as ham-handed and as, like...
dumb.
As, like, cartoonish in its portrayal about what racism looks like. And it's literally just like, everyone's like Boss Hogg that's white. They're like, I say, you a black man. You must be into crime and drugs.
Did Crash have pig vomit in it from Private Parts? Who am I thinking?
I don't. Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti. Thank you.
I don't think so. I don't remember it, but it had like.
I'm gonna look at this up.
Had Don Cheadle. It had Adrian Brody, I think, in it.
Dude, I was just watching Predators, and I was like, Carrie, it's got Adrian Brody in it. Carrie, it's got Adrian Brody in it. We gotta watch Predators. I watched this for the first time when it came out in theaters. I was there for the first day, and she's like, why do you care about this movie? I was like, Adrian Brody, and she's like, why do you care about Adrian Brody? And I was like,
internet meme.
Adrian Brody. Anyway, so what's your score for this piece of shit?
I landed on a 3.
Yep, that's right where I am. It's got enough of a budget, and it's got enough explosions, and it's got enough punching dumb idiot Nazis in the face that, supposedly that makes it good. So I don't think I could necessarily jump down to a 1 just because it's not Troll 2. It is cohesive and coherent in its ham-handed bullshit. But it is full of ham-handed bullshit. It's kind of like paint by numbers, Yeah.
Like in that there's a story structure and this is what we're going to do and these are like the major moving parts. And in that sense, it works. So it's not below a 3 in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think... Did you know Tony Danza was in Crash?
Oh, yeah, I think it was someone's dad. It's like Angela, Samantha.
And Matt Dillon, too.
Oh, yeah, maybe it wasn't Adrian Brody. Maybe it was Matt Dillon who I was thinking
Yeah, I don't
about.
see any Adrian Brody over here.
Yeah, I conflated those two. Talking about conflating, I don't know if that means anything, but how about you go conflate yourself a shirt at nightchannels.com? I'm not sure what that word means. But check out our sponsor, nightchannels.com. We've talked about them. I'm wearing a shirt that I bought from them right now, and
Me
so
too.
is David.
Me too.
I'm wearing a Talking Heads shirt, the album cover of Remain in the Light, and David is wearing
Mayhem. Yeah,
I can't read hard metal writing.
Some of my favorite shirts over there that I've been thinking about buying. Return of the Living Dead. They got the Tar Zombie. They got Blue Velvet with what's his name in Blue Velvet? Who puts the panties in the mask and he's like the creepiest dude in the entire world. It's got that image of him. It's got Akira with the explosion of happening over Tokyo. Sallow. It's got Berserk. It's got everything. It's got Hellraiser.
Yeah, they got a lot of great shirts, especially around the horror genre, but also around metal, alternative music, and
the occult.
Literature. Occult. So go check them out. Like, the best thing that we can ask you to do, I'm not even going to ask you to buy anything. I just want you to go look.
Yeah.
Go to nightchannels.com and browse, and I guarantee that you will find something that you want. And when you do, put that reasonably priced t-shirt or hoodie in your shopping cart. Be sure to use code HMT at checkout so that, number one, they know that you heard about them from us, but also you get a 13% discount off your order.
Huge. Absolutely huge.
Huge.
Yeah, you could. Their hoodies, super high quality, and only $32.95.
Yeah.
And 13% off of that is some amount of money less than that.
Right.
And that you could be wearing a Berserk or Akira hoodie for less than, I think, probably $30.
Right. So please go to nightchannels.com and order your favorite occult and or horror movie merch and use code HMT at checkout to get that 13% off, the scariest percentage. If you're listening to these commercials and us talk about and beg for money, you should know that you don't have to. You can skip this whole part if you pay us. Go to patreon.com/horrormovietalk and
know that you'll be supporting us.
Know that you'll be supporting us. Yeah. And it's like, if you think about how much is that cup of coffee and how much enjoyment do you get? How long does the enjoyment of your Dutch Brothers last? Mine is like an hour and a half.
How long does that next hit of black tar heroin really last?
Right, exactly.
You know, you're stumbling for 9 hours tops.
Yeah, you're spending...
We've got literally hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of content for you to enjoy on our Patreon.
So next time you steal your mother's TV and hawk it to get cash, throw us... $6.66 so you don't have to listen to these commercials anymore.
And so that you can, you can hail Satan in your own little special Patreon way. You know?
Just for you.
Yeah. When you're speedballing, think patreon.com/horror movie talk.
If you want a cool t-shirt with our logo on it, which is one of the coolest podcast logos out there, go to our shop at horrormovietalk.com/shop. And we also have a bunch of stickers there that you can buy.
Coasters.
Yeah.
Magnets, screen magnets.
Speaking of our logo, check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel. He's a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. And some of the coolest artwork that I've seen him post is from commissions from our fans. I know Jessica did the Cannibal the Musical commission. Is that right? I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yes.
And that's like just one of the coolest things on his Instagram. Go to his Instagram at dgoebel00. That's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram, and check out his previous work and get a feel of what he can do for you. Tell him HMT sent you. If you want to leave us a voicemail, that number again is 682-253-4468. Later in the show, we're going to be listening to you. Thanks again for listening. Let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. I found it hard to find things to talk about this movie because it's just so basic.
Yeah, this movie is a basic bitch.
But one of the things I wrote down, and I should probably have looked up the actor's name.
Fuck him.
The main white guy in this movie. Yeah. You've seen him before. It's like Lucas something.
Here, I'll look him up. You
Is
keep
it Josh Lucas?
You keep talking. I'll look him up. Don't worry. I got you.
Oh, hey, I got it right here. Just a second. It is Josh Lucas. I was right.
Oh, dang. Look at you. Oh, man.
What would it be like to be like a super good-looking guy in Hollywood and just always being typecast as the asshole? Like,
life would be pretty good. Life would be pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But I mean, it's like one of those things where you got like the super good-looking face, and you can either, like, the road forks. Like, if you're a super good-looking white guy, you either become the leading man in like 20 rom-coms, or you become the asshole in like a thriller or comedy movies where you're like, I'm the boyfriend that you gotta beat, and I'm an asshole to everyone because I'm rich.
I think if I were actually given a choice, I think I would choose the asshole route just because it's more interesting. It's always going to be more interesting and fun to be the bad guy than it is to be the boring fucking vanilla good guy.
No, see, I disagree. Like, the role that I'm talking...
disagree with my personal preference.
Yes, I can. You're wrong. And I'm going to inform you how you're wrong so that you'll change your opinion. That's how it works.
Okay. Boy, it kind of sounds like you chose the bad guy route too.
See, I know assholes because I am one. So when I see us misrepresented, it makes me angry.
Mm-hmm. We're not good looking at all. We're very ugly. It has turned us into assholes. You don't get to be a good-looking asshole.
See that this particular type of role of being the rich asshole is, I don't think it would be fun because it's non-nuanced. It's literally just like, be a jerk, and like not even like a socially like functioning jerk, just a straight ahead 100% asshole to everyone.
I mean,
and it's just not
good point, but your point kind of falls flat in this movie because the other side is just as non-nuanced and uninteresting.
Right.
As maybe more so.
But I've seen Josh Lucas in other roles, and that's basically it feels like that's all the roles that I've seen him in is like the rich white asshole.
I'm sure he's having a real tough time rolling around on his piles of money with beautiful women and just like, you know, living it up. Poor Josh Lucas. He was in Sweet Home Alabama and Ford v Ferrari. Wow.
Yeah, and he was the asshole. So let's speed through the plot of the movie is not complicated. So it opens with some Mexican immigrants making their way into the U.S. by way of following, you know, these images of roses, apparently. Or they're told about these roses, which is like, that will be important later. And then it like goes to them like months later. I think it was like 10 months later or whatever. And they're working. One of them's got a job as a farmhand, and he's very good. He's like the horse whisperer. And the woman is working at was it like a meat processing plant or something?
Okay.
It was something. And then the purge is going to happen, and it's their first purge, and they go...
Because Mexico does not recognize the purge. The purge is specifically an American thing.
Yeah, it's just an American thing. And we're let know from Native Americans that it's a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It's good that they had that Native American give that news report that, like... you know, have the single tear rolling down his face about the purge.
Right. There was a First Nations man, and he looked into the camera and a tear rolled down his face.
Right. And he says,
and that's how we knew it was bad.
America is destroying itself.
Right.
Okay. And so the purge happens, and every other movie before this, it's basically sets up the purge as this limited amount of time, and then it ends, and then society goes on, and they believe it's a good thing for society.
Yes, it allows people to get their rocks off, settle some scores, feel some vindication, some retribution, and then...
So if you have all that built-up desire to go rape and murder and rob and rape...
Thick, ropey loads of rape inside you that you just... you gotta get them out. Oh, man, I don't know anything about what that feels like. I don't.
You're supposed to say, you said rape twice.
You did say rape twice.
I like rape.
Oh.
That's like one of the best lines in Blazing Saddles.
Yeah. Like, there's going to be people who listen to this episode and they're like, these guys are jerks. But most of the stuff we say is just, I mean, we have no original thoughts either. It's just quotes from Simpsons and other movies.
Yeah, right. So the purge happens, and like there's some foreshadowing about like, this is all based in Texas, by the way. So there's foreshadowing of white supremacists and more extremist groups, you know, talking about the purge and really framing it in the sense of like xenophobia and getting rid of specifically immigrants, because immigrants are the source of all problems in America.
Right. Which
we can all agree on.
Which is a thought that definitely many people in America hold.
Right.
Unironically.
I mean, they're just all rapists and murderers. And some are, I assume, are good people. So full disclosure, we were going to have a guest.
This movie for
we were going to have a guest host on this episode, and she was kind of scared of any kind of backlash or being canceled because of like the topics discussed in this show. So I'm just proving that she's right.
Yeah,
like we're not. I'm not racist. I'm referencing and quoting pop culture.
That's exactly what a racist would say.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like the
and this is why this movie is fucking stupid. Is because if you say you dislike the movie, oh, well, you must be a racist then. And that's so stupid. You know, to that I say that's just retarded.
Retired.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Like it's such a you're so basic. You're so basic if you can't understand how that's a extremely flawed process of thought that you use to get there. It's unfair. You realize that the people getting rich off of this movie, they don't give a shit. Clearly they don't give a shit, or else they would have made a good movie about this important topic. But they made this piece of garbage that they can hang their hat on and be like, we care. You don't care. You're getting fucking rich.
Yeah. I mean, if anything that these last few years have taught us, it's that there's no such thing as real people. There's just ideologies and rhetoric.
Right. You're either with me or you're literally the devil. You're probably a Nazi.
Right.
In this movie's case, yeah, there are plenty.
And if you're not a Nazi, you're a Nazi.
Right. Right.
Okay, and so they foreshadow it, and sure enough, the Forever Purge is about people not obeying the rules and keeping the purge going because America's not purged enough. Mm-hmm. They just can't wait till next year. So the rest of the movie is the people trying to escape, and then the most non-nuanced concept is now Canada and Mexico have opened their borders.
Mm-hmm. Which they had to do because their borders are closed.
Because
you can't open borders unless you have them closed all the time.
Because America was experiencing a refugee crisis because of violent extremists and roving gangs of violent people driving people out of the country. Uh-huh. Do you see what they did there?
What? Help me. Help me understand. Help me understand.
I'm not even going to say it. So, but there's a time limit of 6 hours. So that's like that's
their gateway.
These movies rely on limited time frames. That's the whole premise of the movies.
That's how they create tension. Is they go, right. You only have 6 hours. That's the lowest bar for creating a compelling, feeling of worry, or we're just say they only have 6 hours to do it, and then people who respect time limits and being on time, they'll feel the pinch in this movie,
right? And so the characters that we're following try to make their way to the border, and then they make it, basically. So that's the premise of the movie, and that's literally all there is. Like, there's nothing important. There's no real character development or character growth that happens, other than the white guy is like, well, we're together now. All right.
Yeah, there was literally one moment in the entire movie.
Yeah, talk about the conversation in the truck that...
Okay, so here's the situation. We are well into the thick of it. Our couple, our team has dwindled down to a team of, I believe at this point, 5 people. We have the husband, the douchebag husband, who you mentioned he plays roles.
Josh Lucas, and his wife, who is much more empathetic and caring. Who have both already been, their lives have been saved specifically by
his Mexican employee, who's that couple is also with them, and then the fifth person in this trunk. And I don't know why this matters. It doesn't. Is his sister, is Josh Lucas's sister.
And other immigrant.
What?
The other guy. The other...
Oh, yes. Good point. 6 people. So while they're driving in an attempt to get to the Mexican border, it is brought up very clumsily by I don't know the name... by the Mexican employee. Jesus Christ, what's his name? I don't know the names of any of these people because it's just by Juan. It is brought up. He goes, why aren't you, what do you got against Mexicans? 'Cause, like, what do you got? You're racist, basically. He says to his to Josh Lucas. And Josh Lucas responds, I don't believe that white people are any better than any other people. I don't believe, I don't, he says some things that betray his, his honest opinion. It's like, his honest opinion is, I don't think white people are any better than anybody else. I'm not a big fan of judging people based on the color of their skin, but what are we doing? Like, just stay with your kind. Stay with your kind.
He says he didn't have anything against them. He just didn't want their culture and his culture. And so we should just stay separate.
Right. To which Juan responds, yeah, you're probably right. But here we are, like, now we're together, though. So the movie, whose whole point is racism is bad, in this one part of the movie where it actually touches on a little bit of nuance, it admits, for some fucking stupid reason that makes no sense to me at all, that we should probably stay separate, like groups of different colored people should probably not intermingle.
Yeah, it's the closest to a moral of the story that it tries to purport.
I was so blown away by how fucking stupid this part was, where Juan goes, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we shouldn't intermingle. But here we are, we're doing it. And I guess the point it was trying to make was, in the end, we got through, like, we did the thing together.
We got through it together. We helped each other.
That proves that we should be together. It's clumsy at best and just downright tone deaf and cruel at worst.
Right. The other thing was, like, that to me showed they weren't even sure what they were trying to go for, was the first instance of, like, the purging was at these people's ranch. And
yeah, the purge continues past its allotted time frame.
This group of people show up, like, obviously planned to murder the white owners, because one of them in this group was the ranch hand that wasn't the Mexican, because you can't have one of the Mexicans be evil. Am I right? That guy was white? Am I remembering that wrong?
Yes.
Because there was farmhands, there was two Mexican immigrants, and then the one white guy, and the saltiest guy was the white guy.
Oh, yeah.
And so they show up, and he makes this big deal about he's killing them because they have money and he's poor.
Right.
And so it felt like they were setting up the whole movie to be about racism.
Class warfare.
Well, no, it was up to that point. It was like, oh, this is going to be about racism and xenophobia. And then the first example they have was just classism.
Right.
And talking about, like, economic inequality. And I was like, oh, well, that might be interesting.
Right.
Like, talk about it from that angle. Nope. Then they just move on like that never happened. Now the only groups are, like, the racists and xenophobes.
Yeah.
Now it's just like the extremist, stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I have to say this again.
So it's like, what point are you making? Is it the uprising of the poor and picked upon?
Well,
or is it the uprising of the
look, it's nuanced. Look,
you just don't get it.
I'm gonna say this one more time because this bears repeating. I really want everybody's takeaway from me to be: this is an important topic, yes, and this movie handles it so shittily that you should hate this movie, because look, movies like Us and Them, and shows like Them or movies like Get Out. Like, these movies are great because they show, like, in a subtle way, right, and also with care, that everyone is a person and capable of, like,
right.
This movie just looks to piggyback onto a sentiment, and then if you dislike the movie, well, you're probably fucking racist.
And there's ways
but it's a shit movie.
There's also ways to show it in a cartoonish and like exaggerated way. Like even in them, I feel like the white people in that show are exaggerated and racist, but it's presented in a way that it's like, oh, this is actually like a subtle allegory of reality or something,
right?
Or it's
Thank you
representing evil in a certain way that it. I really love them. Like I think that's one of the best shows that has come out in like recent years, and it's in its treatment of evil, and also like how unsettled you feel is basically making you feel how unsettled people of color were forced to feel historically,
right?
Like to where it's like, oh, you feel the racist gaze on you at all times,
right?
Anyways, so this is not that. That's not what this movie is. This is a cudgel. Let's go through a couple things. So one of the things that stood out for me, and I feel like none of the other Purge movies have touched on it, is all the other interesting concepts that you could touch on with this concept, which is all crime is legal. So would you, like, I get it, there's an impulse to kill, and there's like, oh yeah, if I could kill someone and get away with it, this is who I'd kill. But how many people actually have that? I don't have any desire to kill anyone. I have a desire for more money. Like, I would go
rob a bank,
attempt that. Or if you're a hacker, like, just like, okay, I'm going to steal from the Federal Reserve and put it in my account, and they can't do shit about it because it's during the Purge. Or even like just do, petty shit. Like, well, hey, we got 12 hours to build this shed without getting it through the code office.
I'm finally going to add that third bedroom to my house.
Right. Exactly.
And you can't do anything about it.
Can't do shit about it.
Guess what?
And the other aspect is it treats it very lazily what the impact that this concept would have on society and regular life, which is like, oh, they sell more security systems. Yeah. It's like, no, they would be living in fortresses. Like they would have moats, they would have concrete walls. And my example of this is like, just look at how houses and how like fences are built in South Africa.
Yeah, dude.
Or anywhere where there's like rampant crime where like you could get murdered if you're in the wrong spot, or people will show up to your house and murder you to steal your stuff.
For a short amount of time, I had to work in a country in Africa, in Western Africa, called Mauritania. And slavery, this is a place where slavery is legal. And the brief amount of time I spent in an actual city there and not in a mine, there were 15-foot tall walls with barbed wire and armed guards standing outside. And like you said, like if this country had water, there would be moats.
Right.
And yeah,
there'd be like turrets on top of the house. They wouldn't just be locked in. They'd be like, yeah, I got my 50 caliber up on top. No one's going to fuck with me.
Right.
Like, I can hit them from like 100 yards away.
But it's fun to see a little bit of a, like, I kind of get this. Like, do you know
the first movie it would be so much more interesting to like run with the concept in a way that's other than like, oh, it's dangerous and there's home invaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would.
End of concept.
Right. Yeah, like I said, the Purge Petty Crimes Unit.
Right.
PCU.
Right.
It would be the perfect title because you get PCU, politically correct.
Right.
But I got to tell you,
I'd like go out for a nice succulent Chinese meal and then not pay for it.
A succulent Chinese meal?
I would use the purge to dine and dash.
I got to tell you, I'm actually becoming pretty irritated with this whole, like, even having to continue talking about this stupid movie. I'm so fatigued.
There's just a few more things I want to touch on. So
I think I'm moving it down to a 2. I don't like this. This is so stupid.
There's a couple really stupid moments in this movie, other than just the entire premise. They're holed up in this semi-truck, and they're driving towards the border, and they get to, like, the urban center. What is it? El Paso?
Yeah, El Paso.
And, oh no, there's cars in the way. There's cars in the road. Fuck. If only we were in a giant semi-truck that's built to, you know, tow tons of weight. If only we were in one of those and we could just push through these 2 cars in the way. Nope, we got to abandon ship.
I just don't.
You're
not gonna. This is gonna be on. This is gonna be. I'm trying. Greg.
I know. And then they go to. They're out on the streets after they abandon their semi truck, and I love the fact that they meet with the roaming racists, and they tell the white people, like, we'll let you go. You can stay if you kill the brownies.
Can you say that?
And I just love the fact that they're trying to be edgelords with this movie of, like, look at racism, but they don't have the balls to, like, actually use racial epithets.
Well, I mean,
that exist.
Brownies is not a kind way to refer to someone.
Let's be honest. If you're talking to racists in the southern United States, how are they going to describe
this probably
Mexican immigrants?
This probably boiled down to actors being like, I'm not saying that.
That's probably right. You're probably exactly right about it.
Yeah.
And there's no commitment. It takes the teeth off of this whole concept if you're like, the brownies.
Yeah.
Look, they're brown, and I hate them because they're brown. It's like, no, that doesn't portray real race. Anyways, I just thought that was dumb. And then
Do you think this would be a better movie if it were an independent film and not like made by mainstream Hollywood?
I don't know.
I mean,
probably.
I guess this is a Blumhouse production, right?
Yeah. I think it would. Yeah, like, even if it had a smaller budget, and it was just like more of a zombie flick, idea, like, you'd still be able to do. I mean, if George Romero came up with this concept, like, he'd do more interesting stuff with it.
Well, it's funny. He did come up with this concept.
Oh, did he?
I mean, this is basic. Yeah, I mean, this is basically Dawn of the Dead. Like, it's like, oh no, people are nuanced,
right.
And they have.
And so they eventually find these images of roses, which is like the thing that Mexicans use to guide themselves, I guess, towards safety. And it just felt like a video game of like, oh, I was almost wondering, it was like, were they planning on making the Forever Purge a video game, and they used that specifically so they could use it in the video game of like, here's the walled walkway where you have to go down.
That would be the most fucked up video game ever. Think about the premise of that video game is literally kill somebody of a different race a lot.
Or escape. So it'd be basically like Dead by Daylight, except with racists.
Oh, man. Dead by Daylight is so much fun. Oh, dude. Okay. I got to give this a moment. The other day, I'm playing Dead by Daylight, just quietly, alone, not streaming on Twitch. By the way, I do stream Dead by Daylight on twitch.tv/horrormovietalk. But I'm playing killer. I'm putting people on hooks. I'm killing them. It was a pretty good game. And then at the end of the game is the only time you're allowed to talk to the other team. Uh-huh. And at the end of the game, this one guy goes, "You were the most toxic." Like, I killed them all. Like, I got them before they were able to do the thing.
Right.
He goes, "You were the most toxic, try-hard, sweaty killer ever. You should stick to your podcast." And I was like, what? Wait, what? Like, I panicked for a minute. I was like, you listen to the podcast? He's like, yeah, sometimes, but I like this other podcast more. And I was like, well, that's fine. Like, yeah, I get it. Wow. Well, thanks for listening to the podcast. Like, I can't remember how it went, but he was like, yeah, like he was angry that
you won and played the game well.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in the game. I mean, they messed up pretty bad. Like there was a point where they were just unhooking each other in front of my face, and so I was just down and people left and right. Like they were just running back and forth, trying to.
Yeah, I mean, how can you accuse someone being toxic if they're doing what the game is supposed to do?
It's easy to get angry in this game. Sure. I won't hold it against him. I think he's a cool dude. He blocked me on Steam. I tried to friend him, but he wouldn't have it. But hey, listen, if you're listening to the show, you should unblock me on Steam and friend me, and we can have But he knew my my Steam name. He just.
Well, I mean, it's on Twitch.
Yeah, but
came across it.
Yeah. I was so floored by
That's funny.
By a small moment of semi-celebrity.
Okay, the final 2 points, like they have the First Nation people come in the end and be the saviors of everyone. And if you want to know how subtle they are, guess which weapons they gave the Native Americans.
Super racist weapons?
It wasn't automatic machine guns that saved the day.
What do they give them?
Bows and arrows.
Oh.
David!
And finally, like the example of some of the writing that I was talking about of just basically saying, this is what I'm going to do. These are 2 actual lines that they felt needed to be said was, follow me, I will guide you. And then, I'm going to protect you. I will protect you. It's like, okay.
They're shooting at us.
Yeah.
As they're being shot at.
Okay, so what are the final recommendations?
Here's my final recommendation for the Forever Purge.
Ew. Ew. Ew, David. Ew, no, David. Oh my God, ew, David.
There it is.
Okay, so my recommendation for who would like this is... All right, this is going on way too long. Anyways.
Oh, yay, David. Yay.
All right, let's talk to Elias. Just a second. Let me get him on the phone.
Oh, you got it.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
It's
good.
It's Elias. How are you doing, man?
Good. How's it going?
It's going. Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on the show. I gotta pull up our Patreon feed. Can you pull up I don't know the name of the tier that you're on because I don't have any long-term memory for
spoopy something.
Yeah, they're all something spoopy, but
he's on
your mic's muted.
One of my favorite tiers, which is 4 spoopy 666 everybody.
That's it.
Yeah, Elias has been with us for 2 months now, and as a perk of being what is it? A 4 spoopy 666 everybody.
No, not everybody.
Everybody patron, you get to come on the show for a segment where we get to talk to you about all kinds of stuff. So, Elias, you're in Palmyra? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Palmyra, New York. Yep.
Palmyra, New York. And
that's close to the Finger Lakes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yep.
I know about Palmyra because I used to be Mormon. So I actually went to Palmyra. I've been to Palmyra before and visited the Sacred Grove and
sure.
The cabin where the Smiths used to live.
Elias, are you Mormon?
I'm not, no.
But do you have because apparently this is like a sacred place for Mormons, you must know like, do you have any idea about what the draw is?
Oh, quite a bit. Yeah, I'm actually fairly well versed in all of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Does one of you want to fill me in? I need to be filled in at least a little bit.
Oh, well, I can put my missionary shoes on.
Do it.
Just a little bit. Like, just give me the...
So Joseph Smith Jr. was very confused about religion and about the different religions saying that they were wrong, and he was confused of which one was right. And when he was studying in the Bible, James chapter 2, verse 5, you have to check me on that one, said, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, and he will giveth to men all liberally, or upbraideth not. So basically, he knew that if he wanted an answer to the question of which religion to join, he should pray to God. So one night, he goes out to a grove of trees and prays in earnest prayer to Heavenly Father and asks him which church he should join. And before words can get out of his mouth, he's this part isn't in the discussion, by the way.
God was like, Palmyra, New York.
No, he lives in Palmyra. Yeah. That's where his family's farm is. And he is beset by the devil, and his tongue is bound. Apparently, this part isn't in the discussion. This
to regret.
This is not what we would put in the. Anyways, and then before him, his tongue was released, and before him appeared two personages whose brightness and glory defy all description, standing above him in the air. And one of them spoke unto him and said, "Behold, this is my beloved Son, whom I well please. Hear him." And then Jesus Christ talks to Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith asks him what religion he should join. And Jesus says, "You should join none of them, because none of them are right, and they have strayed from my gospel. And you, Joseph Smith Jr., I am going to use you to restore..."
You're killing me.
"My, the original church
You're killing
back
me.
to the earth." And he's 14, by the way. And so then he goes on, and then years later he is guided to the plates that have the Book of Mormon on it and translates. That all happens in Palmyra. And then like
so it's the birthplace.
Yeah, it's the birthplace, and then the church grows. And
could have just said that.
That would have been the short and simple for sure.
That would.
All right, asshole.
Well, I just wanted to, I just want to know what it was about.
All right.
So as
that's like the significance of the place. It's like literally the sacred grove is that grove of trees next to their farm, which you can still go to.
Yeah, it's a pretty big forest, actually.
Yeah, and then like their farm and stuff. And I think close by, or even in Palmyra, is like the printing press where they printed the first Book of Mormon.
Palmyra on Main Street. Yep.
Yeah, and so all that stuff. It's like basically, Williamsburg for Mormons. They still have like it's missionaries that do kind of the historical reenactment and explain, how they lived and what went on, and tell the story that I just told, and try to get people to, sign up to have missionaries come over to the house.
David, this is so awkward.
Elias, you have you run a blacksmithy, is that correct?
I do. I have my own business. Yes, the Rainy Forge Blacksmithy.
And so you make what at this blacksmithy?
So I mainly do knives, some hunting knives, some camping knives, a bunch of kitchen knives. So I'm a quarter Okinawan through my grandmother. So I do a lot of traditional Japanese kitchen knives with the business.
Oh shit!
Oh, that's cool.
And where can people can I purchase some of these knives?
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on Etsy, the Rainy Forge, all one word on Etsy. I also have a Facebook page, which is the Rainy Forge Blacksmithy, and an Instagram, which is also the Rainy Forge Blacksmithy.
Oh, perfect. And blacksmithy is just blacksmith with a Y on the end.
Yep, exactly.
That's just for me because I was like,
Fancy.
Okay, I have no idea. These are words I've never written before, you know.
So is blacksmithy just like the old English way? So like if you have like ye old, place,
ye old with an e.
Is that just how you say blacksmithy?
Blacksmithy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what's your most popular product?
So my most popular would have to be the camping knives. Those seem to sell really well.
Okay.
I'm really trying to push the kitchen knives, though, because it's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
But I do everything as old-fashioned as I can. I use some modern tools for grinding and stuff. But I hand forge everything myself. Every single knife that I make, except for a couple stainless knives, all of it is hand forged out and hardened, and the whole shebang.
Damn.
Wow.
So I try and keep things rustic and authentic.
See, my former life as a mall ninja, just like I have so many questions and want to nerd out on like swords and knives. I used to have a sword collection, Elias.
Oh, no.
And it used to hang over my bed with I had basically like a gun rack full of swords from my travels.
Gun rack full of swords.
And eventually I got rid of them because I moved on. But I still think...
You wanted to find a wife.
I still think back and I'm like, I really like that one sword. Maybe I should have just kept that one.
Well, this is the important question. Were they like cool swords like a blacksmith would make, or were they like mall ninja swords with Klingon?
No, they were
Taiwan.
they were usually historically accurate swords or whatever. Yeah. So we used to do a lot of international travel with my family, and so wherever we went, that was like my thing. Instead of buying a spoon to hang in a spoon rack, I would try to find like a cool knife or a sword to bring back, which is sometimes harder than others. But I had from Scotland, I got like a Highlander sword, not like the movie,
Highlander?
but like a long sword. That was really cool. And
like a claymore or something shorter?
It was, it had like, hey, Elias. It had like it was one-handed. I guess it probably wasn't like a claymore, but
sure,
it was
so
really
like a hand and a half.
Yeah, it was really long, but it had like a hand guard, like completely protected. So you couldn't actually get like two hands on it, but
sure. Cool.
It seemed really long because I was young. That was probably the biggest sword I had.
That's what she said.
I never got.
That's what I was thinking.
I never got a samurai sword, so I guess my mall ninja certification probably never got fully certified. Right. But I looked at a lot of them, and I can't believe I didn't buy a samurai sword in Japan. But I think the reason was that I wanted a real one, and they're probably like $2,000.
They're fucking expensive.
Yeah. I have one more question, one more sword-based question for you, Elias.
Go for it.
If I were to head on over to your Etsy, the Rainy Forge, is that correct?
Yes.
If I were to head on over to your Etsy, what could I pick a sword up for? Like, what do we talk? What's a ballpark here for a sword?
So I don't have any swords listed on the site just because I've been focusing on the knives and stuff to get inventory going. However, there is an incredible little button on the site that lets you contact me and initiate conversation to set up a custom order. And I can do swords very easily. Well, not very, very easily, but, easy enough that I can do swords.
Just hours and hours of hammering and like honing and squelching.
Depending on the size and the style, would probably be about $300, $400, including shipping.
That is extremely reasonable. I was like, I have no idea what the price of a sword is, but I gotta imagine we're starting at four figures.
Yeah, you gotta up those numbers, Elias.
Probably, but I'm starting. I want to get more sales and build things from there.
What's the most expensive knife that you sell?
I have a couple really sweet Japanese style kitchen knives that I think I have listed at $120 a piece.
Man, that's
very reasonable.
We'll have to talk off the air about branding, Elias. We're going to start a premium brand for your Japanese kitchen knives to where you're going to sell those for $900.
$10 million.
I'm sure that's the goal eventually. But you know what? Right now, I'm small, simple, humble man, and I think you shouldn't have to break the bank to get something that's worth your time and your energy. let's get people buying real knives and stop buying the made in China trash that
Yeah.
you get at Walmart, you know?
Okay, I have two questions now. Now, again, the mall ninja aspect of me, and also the horror movie talk. Okay, so number one would be, it's surprisingly hard to find, like, because I've looked, the Michael Myers
length, like a 12 to 14 inch
butcher knife. Because I think the one they use in the movies
chef's
is
knife.
Yeah, the one they use in the movie is.
It's very long.
I think it's 14 inches. I think you're right because it's
like
more
14
than.
inch.
I think you can find stuff that's 12 inches, but 14 inches specifically, along with, that's like really hard to find. How much would it cost for a commission for just a Michael Myers 14-inch non-branded butcher knife?
About 130, 140.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Because we had an idea like way back years ago of like, what if we just had something on the shop that was a horror movie talk branded giant butcher knife?
Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet.
So,
because I knew someone that had a laser engraver. I was like, I just got to find the knife.
There you go. And
I just give it to the laser engraver and could put the logo on, but I could never find the knife. Okay, second question. In a zombie apocalypse, since you're an expert,
don't do this. I want to ask him interesting questions.
What would be a more effective weapon? A spear or a baseball bat?
So we've had this conversation over on the Twitch channel, actually.
Yeah.
And I stand by, if I have to choose between the two, I think baseball bat is better.
Oh, Elias.
Well,
I
he's
know.
a smart
I love
guy.
spears. Hey, spears are one of the best weapons for combat between people. Problem is if you're fighting one zombie, spear hand down. If you're fighting two zombies, probably still the spear. You throw another zombie in the mix, as soon as you get that stab on that second zombie, the third one's right on top of you. Baseball bat, you can just kind of push them back, fend them off, take your hits when you need them.
But a spear's longer. You could push them farther away.
It's longer, but you still got to stab the zombies at some point in time, unless you're just fighting them off.
Okay,
Sometimes you don't have to stab them far.
Okay.
It's not the right thing to do. Look,
all right, Elias, you just disappointed me. I thought we were bros.
Justice for bats.
Okay, so how much would it cost to commission you to make a historically accurate 6 foot long spear?
So I have actually made a couple spears, and love making spears. Spears are great. I could do a spear for probably about the same, about 130, 140, and that would include the pole and everything.
Well, there's your answer.
It's going to hang behind us on our video podcast once we get that rolling.
I have a question for you, Elias. What are your favorite horror movies? Maybe in no particular order, because I know it's hard to rank them all in your head.
No, hands down, my favorite horror movie of all time has to be Alien. Just absolute classic. One of my earliest memories is watching Alien with my dad. And it was just how taken aback I was by the movie. And we got to a point in the movie, and Sigourney Weaver's taking off her clothes and shit and getting to her skivvies. And I remember my dad saying, cover your eyes. So I did the stupid thing as a 13-year-old. And, I put my hands over my eyes, but I'm not really covering my eyes.
Sure. We all know the move.
And that kind of hooked me on horror. And specifically, that aspect of horror movies.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Alien blew me away in such a it was weird and cold and perverted in this weird sort of feel. I love this disconnected feel that Ridley Scott movies have, where they're
just the H.R. Geiger stuff is adds so much to the tone of the movie, to where it's just the design of the alien and the cold and goopiness of it is that establishes the feel of the entire movie.
Yeah, it's all clinical and weird feeling, and I don't know. I really like that. You got any in recent memory that you've been really tickled by?
I really liked the movie Freaks. It came out recently.
The 2008 one. I think someone recommended it. We watched it, or was it 18?
I recommended. Yeah, I don't remember what year it was. It was more recent than that.
2018.
But in any case, it was really good. Highly recommend that one. Kind of like a horror thriller sort of a deal. Great acting, kind of low budget indie film, but really, really well done.
Here's the quick explanation of this 2018 film called Freaks. A bold girl discovers a bizarre, threatening, and mysterious new world beyond her front door after she escapes her father's protective and paranoid control. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll check that one out. It looks like that's on Netflix right now.
Oh, sweet. There you go.
So, and how long have you been listening to the podcast?
So, I've been listening to the podcast for almost 2 years now, coming up on 2 years.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you, man. I appreciate you. And how did you find it?
So, I used to listen to like all the big horror movie podcasts, Nightmare on Film Street, Dead Meat, and I was, kind of ran out of episodes. A lot of those podcasts just weren't putting out episodes fast enough for me. And so I just Googled, what are some great film podcasts, some great horror podcasts. And one site had you guys listed as, an up and coming podcast. And I'm just like, cool, that sounds like a cool podcast. So I threw you guys on, and I don't even remember what episode it was, but I was instantly hooked with just everything, the way that you do things and the humor and everything. I was just like, this podcast is right up my alley.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. I can never take these compliments.
Okay, so the real question is, how do we compare to Nightmare on Film Street, and why aren't we doing better than them?
I don't know, because I think you're better. I stopped listening to them a while ago. Not to say that their podcast is bad, but a lot of their episodes were just kind of being less and less about horror movies and being more and more about like just horror events and themes and like horror like festivals and stuff. I'm like, that's awesome, but I want to listen to a podcast where people are talking about a movie that I really like that's, a horror movie.
Yeah, if there's one thing to our detriment, we're not like super into the scene, in quotation marks.
We don't identify as horror movie freaks.
Right.
Like it's definitely one of these things where it's not my identity. Right. I just enjoy it. I
feel like we don't have credibility because neither one of us has a tattoo.
Oh yeah,
or
that too.
Colored hair.
I've got two.
So
you got tattoos?
Yeah, I've got two of them.
What do you got? You don't have to show us if it's on your dick.
He's got an arrow pointing to his dick.
So I've got two. So they're both from my blacksmithing business.
Oh, little bonsai tree coming out of an anvil.
Yep, that's the first one I got.
Nice.
And that's all in black. And then I also got one on my forearm, which is going to be kind of hard to show here on the camera, but I have one on my forearm that's a kitchen knife that has the words Sic Mundus Creatus Est written on it. And in Latin, that translates to the world is created. And that is actually from a really big tablet from years and years ago, but it's a huge part of my favorite TV show of all time, which is called Dark. And that is on Netflix right now.
Oh, dang.
And that is a German psychological thriller. It has some horror elements to it, but it's more of like an existential horror than more of like a traditional slasher horror.
Oh, nice.
I've been recommended that one before. I think I should probably watch it.
Dark?
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. Dark. It's my favorite show of all time. However, the stipulation is you have to be okay with reading subtitles because you have to watch it in the original German. You can't watch it in English. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I know that. I know that feeling.
It's because German is the scariest language.
Yes.
I see.
German doesn't get like enough love. It's like the meme thing to do is like, oh, all German sounds angry. Like German is actually a pretty beautiful language if you like put it up against French and stuff. French sounds nasty to me.
What are you talking about? It's beautiful and flowing and soft.
Yeah, that's all right.
I see you're wearing a Horror Movie Talk t-shirt. That came with your Patreon subscription, right?
Yep. that was actually probably the biggest reason why I subscribed to Patreon, is I really wanted the shirt so I could kind of show it off to people and get your name out there in the world.
Oh man, we appreciate you so much. That's so nice of you. And it's not the thing I like about the shirts is they're actually the logo is decent enough that people would want to wear it.
Right.
If it were our old logo before Dustin got his hands on it, I don't think anybody'd be interested.
Hey! I designed that logo, and
it's a fine logo.
Okay, it's not very good.
It's just this one is so much better.
I'll say this: the original logo was not cool.
No, but it inspired this logo.
Yeah, obviously, like, Dustin made it a billion times better, and like was a legit artist. Except instead of me copy pasting clip art.
Well, hey, Elias, you got anything else? Anything else you wanted to share or say before we gotta keep moving with the episode here? You got anything else for us?
I think that's about it for me. I would love to hear more people on podcasts and stuff. I don't know if it would be something you guys would be interested in doing sometime, but I'd love to hear more people talk about the score and the music in horror movies and just how iconic that is as part of horror movies.
Noted.
Yeah, we should probably do. That's been noted before. I think part of it is like I actually, it's one of those things that I probably care too much about and would probably want to really get deep into like music theory talking about it.
Sure.
So it's like, as with everything with the podcast, if I look at something and like, well, that's going to take a lot of effort, it stops me from doing it.
Right.
And then also there's like the copyright aspect of like, we're a little nervous about playing clips and stuff.
Doing the copyright stuff, yeah.
But yeah, we should definitely try to do that. We could do like one of the mini episodes on scoring.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, that'd be great. Well, that's good input. And where can people find you again, Elias? And your Rainy Forge blacksmithy.
The Rainy Forge, yep, the Rainy Forge blacksmithy. And I'm on Facebook just under the Rainy Forge blacksmithy. I'm on Instagram also under the Rainy Forge blacksmithy, and on Etsy it's just the Rainy Forge.
You guys should definitely go check out Elias and consider some of his kitchen knives, because that is what he. I have another friend who actually listens to the podcast. He has a forge in Indiana. And he definitely has things that he specializes in, right? He's like, yeah, I'll do this and that. But the thing I really like to do is like coat hooks. That's what I like to do. And so I push coat hooks. So if Elias is telling you that he likes kitchen knives, it's probably because he's fucking bomb at doing kitchen knives.
And I'm a great chef.
And there you go. So, well, thank you for all the support you've given us, Elias. We appreciate you a lot. I love you showing up. You show up for just about every Twitch stream, and you add so much to it.
I love it. Oh, it's so much fun.
Well, thank you. And
we got to get some Dead by Daylight going sometime.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Do you have the game?
I do, yeah. And now that they have cross-platform, too, it should be a lot easier.
Okay, cool. Then we'll play. We'll play next time. Next time I'm on there, we'll play some Survivor, and I'll get murdered, and you'll do well.
Probably get murdered. I'm a killer man, so I'll probably get murdered too.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you for calling in. Thank you for supporting the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it, man. You have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, you as well. Peace.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks, Elias. See ya. Let's move on to our next bit. This will be a new one.
Man, I hope we get more patrons at that level, because I love talking to fans, man.
Right, yeah.
As long as it's over the internet. In person, I just turn into a wreck.
Right. Okay, so this bit is called... What did I call it? Let's Make It Better.
Let's Make It Better.
Okay. So, from the beginning, let's just kind of spitball out the acts and like the happenings in the better version of the Forever Purge.
Okay. All right. I'm getting I really love this idea of a petty crimes unit of like just some ragtag group of people who are down on their luck, and they just really want to make things better for themselves somehow.
Yeah.
But killing does not factor.
Yeah.
So that's
I think we should do that, the B storyline.
Okay. Yeah.
Because in terms of a franchise, you got to keep giving them what they want.
Okay.
So I think, like, I'm going to keep the skeleton of the Forever Purge in that it's the Forever Purge.
Okay.
Right? We got to keep the title. Okay. So I say we open on, and if we're keeping, like, some of the same characters, skip, like, the first scenes, go straight to Juan working on the ranch.
Okay.
And, you know, there's enough shorthand that you understand, like, okay, he's an immigrant. This is his first purge. And I think for the most part, we'll keep that stuff the same, them going into the lockdown house, you know, with the other immigrants.
Yeah.
Keep that the same. We'll remove the overt racism of the ranch owners.
Well, just the ranch owner's son.
Just the ranch owner's son.
The ranch owner understands nuance. And,
right.
And is quickly killed off for that.
Right. But we'll show, like, that they're not racist per se, but that's definitely exploitational. They're
Okay.
like, okay. You know, they're doing all this hard work and they're like, okay, well, here's your minimum wage check.
Yeah.
You know. And so, okay, so Juan and his wife go into the lockdown room, and, okay, who's going to be the B storyline of petty crime during the purge?
Oh, Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
You know, revising their, you know, much lauded team up on Night and Day.
Now, yes. And to pay for this, we have to do away with all the pyrotechnics.
Right.
We literally have to get rid of all the explosions because Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise as a B-side storyline, not cheap.
See, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be stunt casting. Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise are not advertised as being in this movie.
Oh,
it'll be a reveal.
Yes,
like Matt Damon and
like Tropic Thunder, where Tom Cruise was in Tropic Thunder.
Right.
But you didn't know,
right?
I didn't even know until the credits rolled on that movie. I was like, wait, what? Tom Cruise was in this?
Yeah. So yeah, they're going out and they're like, they're doing the petty crimes. They're like, okay, so what's the story behind Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz? What's their goal? Like, what's the petty crime that they're going after?
Oh, well, this is in Texas, right?
Yeah.
So sodomy is illegal. And they have a real, like, big time urge to, like, Cameron's like, please put it on my butt.
Please fuck me in the ass. Please.
And Tom is like, you know, he's Tom Cruise. So he's like, no, ew. That's illegal. And based on the fact that it's illegal, he just won't do it. You know, he's like a law-abiding man.
Right.
And so for those 12 hours, they just ass fuck. But she's got to purge all the poop out of her butt, so it's not a big messy mess. Because again, Tom Cruise, he's not having that.
Yeah,
he's not getting poop on his dick.
Right. Ever.
Ew.
He's definitely a heterosexual man.
Oh my God, ew, David.
Yeah, that's Tom Cruise.
Okay, cut back to our A storyline.
Our much more compelling storyline.
The purge ends and they open up the fortress.
Mm-hmm.
And very similarly, like, people are still killing. Like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, what's going on?
It's the Forever Purge.
And I say it's not like virulent racist, like, you know, stand-ins for, you know, Proud Boys or whatever they're trying to do, or for like neo-Nazis.
Okay.
It's like a shady corporation that it's like they're paramilitary people that secretly they've been planning this.
like the Umbrella Corps.
Like Umbrella Corps. And it's not known, like, why, what's going on? Why are these black trucks still killing people?
Right.
And the police, are trying to go after them, but they're overwhelmed. And it's everywhere. It's everywhere in the U.S.
Right.
And since people are so ramped up with the purge, like, they're already armed, so they start fighting back, but eventually they realize, like, oh, well, why don't we just keep doing the purge? Like, since the police are engaged and the government is trying to figure out what's going on with this paramilitary group, they keep going on the purge. And so cut back to B storyline, Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise are fucking.
Well, they have to find and then steal like a metric ass load of lube.
Okay. So they're breaking
and
in.
Metamucil. She's got to clear out.
Right. Okay. So this is great because during the purge, they were trying to infiltrate the lube factory that's in, let's say, Plano, Texas, and they right next to the Dr. Pepper factory, and
Dr. Pepper wants no part of this sponsorship.
They were just about to break the lock in the lube factory, and then wah, wah.
The alarm goes off.
The purge is over.
I'm
like, oh, fuck.
We don't get to do it in the butt.
We didn't get to do it. It took too long. Tom Cruise, you always take so long breaking these locks.
Yeah.
It's like a play on Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Because his character in Mission Impossible is so competent. Like, he's just really bad at doing these actually very possible missions.
In the lube factory, he's like coming down from the vents.
Yeah, and then he just slams on the floor.
And there's the lasers around the lube,
Right.
And he's like, I almost got
and he just goes through all the lasers and slams into the floor and like knocks the pressure plate off. And so that happens during the purge, and then they're like, so they can't do it. But then, after they're mourning their loss of lube, they realize the purge is still going on.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
We could still make it back to the lube factory.
Yeah.
So they break in, the alarms go off, everyone's in chaos in the lube factory. Like, buckets have fallen over, everyone's slipping around.
Yeah, right. And there's a xenomorph just all goopy walking around.
Right.
Just like, oh, I'm so goopy. I'm more goopy than usual. And he's getting fucked in the ass by a predator.
Steve Urkel's in the background for some reason. He's like, did I do that?
Right. Bill Cosby's there, inexplicably. He's like, hey, they let me out of prison in Pittsburgh. Guess what?
Got to stock up on lube.
I go in dry normally, but here I am.
And that's where he went wrong. So Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise make it. And there's like a particular lube that they want.
Right.
Because it's like specifically formulated to make anal sex not gay for Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. And it's in like the set aside room with like a spotlight on it, and he's got to like take it off the pressure plate like Indiana Jones.
I'm getting
and
pretty
Raiders of the Lost Ark
aroused right now. I love this movie already.
And right as they're he's about to insert, like, he's not experts at it, so like he can't get it in because
it's too slippery.
There's been no prep.
Yeah.
Like it's just a closed sphincter, just like locked tight. Again, like a play on the Mission Impossible thing. Like he just doesn't. He's not competent in anal sex.
Right.
And as they're like trying, and he's frustrated, then these purgers show up and start shooting up the place. And he's like, "Well, fuck, we gotta go." And they go cut back to A storyline.
And he's like, I'm been caught with my pants down.
Right. Right. Cut back to A storyline. We don't know what happens next to Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz, but cut back to A storyline. The Juan and his wife are trying to make it through the city, and they have no interest in the purge, and they're still getting preyed upon by they do come across some racists. There's some guys in pickup trucks with flags with like the American flag on the back of it, and they're taking advantage of the situation. They're like, hey, Trump said you're rapists and murderers, so gonna take advantage of this. And so they have to run away from the racists, and they jump into like a dune buggy and go out into the desert.
Yeah.
And there's a big chase scene. And they have to improvise some weapons from the dune buggy, and they how do they get away from the truck?
Well, they drive into the lube factory by accident. You know,
Right.
They drive through it, and the chase goes through the lube factory, and they manage to miss. This is where the two A and B intertwine. And so as they're like making their way through the lube factory, not hitting any lube, the bad guys aren't as good at drivers, and they hit the lube, and it's like a banana peel.
Okay, here's what happens. They run right into
Tom Cruise and
Cameron Diaz as they're being attacked by purgers. Right. And so they stop Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz from being killed. They join forces, and they say, we're stronger together. And it's symbolistic of, whites working with people of color, right. POCs. And who's whiter than Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise? Like, I can't find a better stand-in for that concept. And so they go and they escape. They get away from the purgers because all of a sudden, like, the purgers that were fighting against Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise look at the racists, and they're like, well, we can't stand racists in America. And so they start fighting each other, and so they get distracted. Act 3,
It's just Tom Cruise climaxing into
Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz and Juan and his wife make it out. They're in a safe place. It's like, let's say it's like an elementary school. It's like a kindergarten room.
Yeah.
That for some reason is like super well locked down. And they realize like, okay, we're safe. And so Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz explain like, well, we're trying to commit some petty crime.
Sodomy.
We're gonna do sodomy. And so Juan is like, oh, well, you're going all about it wrong. You got to prepare
the
anus a little.
Let me guide your dick.
He shows Tom Cruise. He demonstrates on his wife. He's like, here, you got to start with like a pinky, like get it prepped.
He's like the horse whisperer before. Now he's the Now he's the butthole whisperer.
He's the anus whisperer,
right?
Or the sphincter whisperer.
It's like, hey,
and he actually that's part of the foreplay. Is he whispers into his wife's anus
last night,
which is proven to relax.
Last night, this is just a sidebar. Last night, I had some real bad anal whispers. Just a lot of that going on.
Yeah. And so Juan is demonstrating like, and then Tom Cruise is getting into it. He's like, okay. And then he's like looking at Juan and replicating what he's doing. He's like prepping up Cameron Diaz's anus.
Yes, as you do.
And it gets to the point where like, oh yeah, her anus is starting to accept my fingers now. Where now is the time to lube it up, and he lubes it up, and they're both like fucking. Yeah. They're Juan and Tom Cruise are fucking their girls.
We're never going to be employed again.
They're high fiving.
Yeah.
And then there's just a big orgy because they get into it and they're like, well, why don't we swap around? Cameron Diaz and Juan's wife are making out, and then all of a sudden, Tom is like, well, what if I just sucked your dick, Juan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they start.
Yeah.
Sucking in 69 on each other.
Title screen, Forever Purge.
Right as they come.
Right. Eiffel Tower. Boom.
Yeah.
We're never going to be employed.
Oh, yeah. That's how it ends. Like, Cameron Diaz and Juan's wife are 69ing while Tom and Juan are butt fucking them, doing the Eiffel Tower. High five as they come on their backs. The Forever Purge.
I'm so glad we didn't have a guest today. This is anybody associated with this is never going to be employed again. This is such a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this movie hasn't been made yet.
Right. I think it might have been made. But not starring Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz.
Not with this title. This is a hot title.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, should we get into
all right, the next bit, let's get into horror movie whores.
Whore.
I really I really like Nightlight Horror Movie Club a lot, but I didn't realize how far down the rabbit hole of depravity you and I had gone until I had something pure and innocent to juxtapose it with, where it's just like, it's like, oh, this is...
Oh, these are nice people.
These are nice people. I feel some guilt right now. I feel like kind of...
I really kind of wish they were here guesting on this episode so they could have partaken in that exercise.
I feel bad bringing up their name just now and having associating
See,
them with that.
Here's the thing. I posit that as doctors, they've been exposed to all depravity that can exist.
Which is why they like to keep things light.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. You know, this would have been a great episode to have Glittercore guest on.
Oh. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, we
got some messages to get to. If you guys want to give us a call at 682-253-4468, you could get on the show as well. If you want to tell us how gross we are, that's great. If you want to tell us that you know how to attempt anal play, you could do that too. We're just dumb idiots, and our opinions should count for nothing in your mind. So keep that in mind. And here's do you have our first caller?
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go.
Oh shit. It's not working because I have the.
Oh yeah, I'll pull it up.
Let me see if this.
Give me a clap.
From Ohio.
I got it.
Cool.
Hey guys, it's Justin from Ohio again. I called last week. I asked about your 3 favorite horror villains and what you guys thought about Rob Zombie doing the monsters. I was wondering, when the new Halloween Kills trailer comes out, will you guys do a review of that? And also, what's your favorite Halloween movie? Thanks, guys. You guys are awesome. Bye.
Hey, thank you, Justin from Ohio. That's so nice of you to say.
Yeah. So a couple things to unpack there. Number one, Rob Zombie Monsters remake.
Yeah.
There's a post on our Facebook group asking about that, what people thought about it. And I couldn't care less about anything less.
Really?
I never watched the Munsters.
I watched the Munsters as a little kid on Nick at Night a lot.
Yeah. And I haven't ever seen really any Rob Zombie movies.
I think it'll be. I have high hopes, which is a dumb thing of me to do. But I do have high hopes. I hope he goes very Addams Family values with it.
Right.
Intro to horror, like for little kids with an aesthetic.
It really is a weird choice to have Rob Zombie on like a comedy horror concept, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It'll feel like everything he does. It'll feel real propagandistic, where it's like fake smiles, I think. A lot of, 70s TV commercial vibes of like, drink your Ovaltine, kids, ting, like a little. It's just a very specific lane that he seems to fill.
Yeah.
But yeah, not big feelings necessarily. I do hope it's good, obviously, but that seems to be asking a lot of Rob Zombie.
The second thing about Halloween Kills trailer, it's since come out. We've watched it. That is a good thing. Like, I think as we get video going, like, I'll tell you what, I'm impressed at how a low effort reaction video to trailers can get 1 billion views.
Phew. Wow.
Like, so we got to do that. We got to start doing reaction stuff to trailers.
You like suck the soul out of me in 10 words.
And then what was the other thing?
I can't remember.
Halloween Kills. What our favorite Halloween movie was.
Oh, like Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen. Admittedly, I have only seen 1, 2, 3 Season of the Witch, and then 2018, and I think that's it.
I think out of the ones that I've seen...
You've seen more. You've seen like 4 and 5.
I think I've gotten up to 5, maybe 6. I can't remember. But I'm not a huge fan of really any of them. But the point where it turned the corner and I was like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing with this character, was Halloween 4, which I think is Bugsy's favorite one.
Yeah.
And that's the first time where it like just shows Mike Myers having stupid superhuman strength, where he just crushes a dude's head with his bare hands. It's like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing with this now, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of continues on after that. So that's, I don't know, that one was notable to me. Like Halloween 1 feels kind of quaint. It's very basic. I get what he's going for, but it's not like the same thing. Halloween 2 in the hospital.
More of the same.
More of the same.
Yeah.
There's some nice tits in it. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah, there were.
Halloween 3 was garbage. Halloween 4, I think, is the one that I'd go towards.
Of what I've seen, 1, 2, 3, and 2018, I think 2018 is the one that I get the most enjoyment out of.
Yeah.
I recognize. Look, you Halloween fans are absolute nut jobs, and I say that with peace and love. You know who you are. You know how you are. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say 2018 just because that feels like a really cool movie, and I like the aesthetic. Speaking of Ohio, if you guys would like to help support Dustin, our hard fucking artist, check out in Columbus, Ohio. Check out the Prince and Pints Volume 4 on August 14th. You get to hang out with Dustin, buy some of his artwork over there, and have a few beers. So check it out. Again, that's Prince and Pints, and that's on the 14th of August. So check it out.
Prince as in like printer, not Prince as in the artist formerly known as.
Right.
Okay. Moving on. Next call.
7 days.
That's ominous.
Was that the whole call?
That was the whole call.
Oh, well, thank you for calling in, Satan.
What the fuck is up, guys? This is Rojo from the motherfucking Bronx back again.
It's Rojo.
I'm over here. I was listening to your fucking Nightmare on Elm Street 2 podcast. It was all right. It wasn't that good. It is what it is. I was just thinking. I'm over here doing my nails and thinking about this movie and all the gay shit you guys are talking about. Bryce, he doesn't really sound like a guy that would be into horror movies and shit. And I myself, I'm really starting to figure out that I'm not into horror movies myself anymore. And I don't even know why I'm still a member of this fucking podcast, this Patreon. But this question is for Bryce over there. How the fuck did you get into horror movies? You seem like one of the least horror movie person kind of guys, if that makes any fucking sense. Anyway, keep doing what the fuck you're doing. Love you guys. This is Rojo from the motherfucking Bronx.
Every time I hear Rojo, I just laugh. Mm-hmm. I can't help it. What the fuck are you doing? Watching horror movies. You seem like where's that coming from? What does that mean? I have tears in my eyes. Oh man.
I feel attacked.
Yeah.
But I can't say he's wrong. I mean, I guess the question is, what is a horror movie guy? And would you identify as one?
Yeah. Let's lay down the...
Are you a horror movie guy, David?
No, I guess not. I guess not. I just run a horror movie podcast.
Right. For the last 3 years.
Yeah. And watch them all the time. But like, if you were to look at me, I don't know, maybe you'd think I was.
I feel like you'd come off as more of a horror movie guy than me. I mean, you're wearing a Mayhem shirt right now.
Yeah, but I have no idea what that means. Like, okay, so it's the way you look. Is that what makes?
I think
you
that's
a horror
part of
movie
it.
Guy?
I think that's part of it, and like the tangential, like the other hobbies. Like I feel like people into death metal, probably veer more people that are like into goth stuff.
Mayhem is black metal, so just
okay, all right, black metal. Probably veer more towards the horror genre.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a type. We just talked about like the scene.
I guess.
You know, I feel like I would not fall into the scene. I'm not into it, but I do like the horror movies that I like.
See, this is the thing. Is like
I like movies. So I mean, I think the original premise of the show, I think we've been pretty clear of like we're not. It's not even necessarily that horror movies are our favorite genre.
No, that's my favorite genre. But like now, it's reaching a bit of a point of like I've seen everything.
Right.
It's not like I haven't seen everything. I've just seen iterations of everything.
As with any genre, the stuff that is done well is amazing, and
but it's
sticks
also
with you.
fucked out. It's also becomes fucked out at some point. Like I'll say this: if you head over to our Facebook group, the Horror Movie Talk Facebook group, you're gonna see young men, young women, older men, older women, decrepit men and women. You're gonna see zimzers. You're gonna see cute women. You're gonna see ugly men. You're gonna see everybody, and that just tells me. There is no look or no rhyme or reason. It's just what you enjoy.
Right.
So, but Rojo, and then I've got I'm going to take a moment to plug my new podcast because I've got a lot of people saying that Babyface Billy, who I'm doing Hotline and Advice podcast with, which is another podcast. We've got like 25 episodes out now. A lot of people are saying that Babyface Billy sounds a lot like Rojo from the Bronx, and I just want to dispel that myth right now. They're not the same. They're not the same.
Well,
people.
it's like people that say all black people look alike.
Yeah, it's rude.
They just hear that Bronx accent, right? And they're like, that must be Rojo.
Babyface is from the Bronx. So I mean, but there's so many people in the Bronx. It's like,
and it's also confusing because his name is Babyface from the Bronx,
right? Well,
so
Babyface Billy. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so thanks for your call, Rojo. Good to hear you're not dead. Rojo recently was killed somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
next caller.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel attacked.
Yeah. Well, he'll do that to you.
Hey, this is Rojo from the Bronx calling back again. I'm making it towards the end of this Nightmare on Elm Street 2 episode, and I just gotta say, I said that the episode was all right. It wasn't that great before, but Bryce is really he's winning me over with these one-liners because it's safe to say everyone deserves the experience of fucking a Gil once in their life. And he's killing me with these one-liners. He's making up for the rest of this podcast. And also, you guys are really turning into a PC podcast. Fuck you guys.
Fuck you guys. Oh, all right. Sorry. I don't know if you could accuse us of being a PC podcast after this episode.
Right.
But maybe. I don't know.
Good morning, guys. This is James in Winston-Salem. I just found your podcast this morning, and clearly this satisfies my need for a new podcast to listen to for the next while because it was awesome. And I just want to let you know that you guys have a new listener in North Carolina. This was the Clover Lane episode that I listened to, and it was fabulous. And by all means, keep up the good work. You guys are great. And by all means, have Kate back again. Her energy and her fun was awesome. I'll listen to her podcast after I finish catching up with you guys. But you guys are all great, and have a great day.
Yeah, don't wait to catch up on our podcast. Just listen to it in tandem.
Yeah.
Their podcast is great, and we loved Kate, and we're definitely going to have them back again. Is it me, or do you, when you hear Winston-Salem, you just immediately think just everyone's smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, I didn't.
Just the entire...
I think of Overwatch. There's a character on Overwatch named Winston.
Oh.
And he's a monkey.
Well, thank you so much for being a new listener.
James,
I really love it that you listened to one episode and you called us and let us know. That's like, that makes us have warm fuzzy.
Salt of the earth stuff here, James. And did you know that Kate, I believe, is also in North Carolina? So, don't stalk her or anything, but maybe stalk her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe just send them like a carton of cigarettes.
We had a...
I know everyone in Winston-Salem must like just have a cabinet full of them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. We, we had a huge response on having Kate on from Nightlight Horror Movie Club and 10 Cloverfield Lane. I didn't realize it was going to be such a big response, but yeah, check out that episode if you haven't yet. That was the episode last week.
Hey, what up, boys? Hey, I'm just curious. Do you think that horror fans are the biggest crybabies / most sensitive fans out of any genre of movies? And if so, why? Also, this is CJ from Foxborough, Massachusetts.
I like this question. I like this question. Thank you, CJ from Foxborough, Massachusetts. This is a good question.
I think my answer is no, they're not. I think maybe specifically Halloween fans are, or at least virulently like opposed to any opposing opinions about like any non like effusive opinions about Halloween. But no, I don't think horror fans in general really compare to like some Snyder Bros or people that are way too into Star Wars and offended that there's any kind of changes in those movies.
Yeah, see, I was going to disagree with you and say I did think horror movie fans are pretty big crybabies. But you know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we have a whole community of people that are just wonderful. So I don't think it would be doing them justice to basically be like throwing them under the bus and saying that. I think you're right. Like there are definitely seen people within like the Marvel community or the Star Wars community that are just really unbearable.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I'm not really in those communities. I just hear a lot of buzz about like, did you see how they shoehorned in a lesbian kiss into this scene in Star Wars?
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
How can you give one shit?
Dude, if you want to join like a pretty amusing subreddit, join the movie Circle Jerk subreddit. It's great. Yeah, in terms of like toxic fandoms, horror isn't anywhere near the top of the list. Like I feel like there's a lot of like very pragmatic. They're like, we like it because we like it, and they get like a lot of different levels of enjoyment out of the different types of movies and aren't like pretentious about it.
Well, they're the most open-minded because they want to be challenged.
Right.
Horror movies are intended to be challenging.
Right.
Difficult. Uncomfortable.
There is sometimes where there's like a specific lane with subgenres to where they're pretty limited in their taste.
Yeah.
Of like...
I
didn't like it because there wasn't enough tits being stabbed.
There wasn't enough eviscerations. I only got 4 eviscerations. Where are the rest of them?
Yeah.
So, speaking of good fans, I'd just like to say thank you to our most recent patrons. We got Kat M. We got our girl Glittercore. We got Giselle. We got David P. Sarge G. We got Dalian M. and Samuel R. Thank you guys from the bottom of our heart for supporting the show on patreon.com /horror movie talk. You guys are the wind beneath our wings. You make me so happy to be doing this podcast. So we appreciate you. And sorry if we're a little late on that. We're just very.
Did we get all of them? Did you get David P. and Dalian M?
I don't. Maybe.
Let me run down the list real quick just to make sure we got all.
Again.
So Kat M, Glittercore, Giselle R, Nate, David P, Justin D, Sarge G. I love the name Sarge.
Yeah, I got all those.
Dalian M and Samuel R. Okay. Coolio. Well, I mean, you just got double your money's worth. You got thanked again. Next caller. We got 2 more calls.
I'll suck your dick. if you become a patron.
Hey, I forgot to mention that
CJ?
Halloween was filmed in 20 days, the entire movie.
Wow.
And I'm buying one of your horror movie talk red shirts, those beautiful shirts. And keep them burps coming, baby. Like, there's no hate on them. Keep them coming.
What? What was that last part?
Keep those burps coming.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it offends a lot of people. I think it just outright makes people not listen to the show. I think they just turn it off. They just go, "Oh, I'm not listening to this."
Yeah,
which is understandable. I can get it. Last caller.
Hey, Bryce and David, it's your boy Jason. I have a weird question, and this thought just occurred to me. You see, I'm curious, has there ever been a horror movie that you watched and for some, like maybe it was just so fucked up or there was something that was just so disgusting in the movie that it kind of turned you off of eating a certain food for a while? A good example is me when I watched Texas Chainsaw for the first time. And as you guys know, I work for the meat department and I eat a lot of fucking steak and stuff like that. And, yeah, when I watched Texas Chainsaw for the first time, I'm not going to lie, I was so disturbed by the movie and the fact that they were practically butchers in the beginning or slaughterhouse guys in the beginning. And then just watching everything, I don't know why it disturbed me so bad. Like, I got put off of steak for a long time. Well, not a long time, maybe like a month and a half.
Maybe like 4 or 5.
I just could not eat steak without thinking of like how
at least 2 meals.
Grossly disturbed I was watching Texas Chainsaw. But yeah, I can't wait to hear you guys' answers.
I'll go first.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah,
like
that's
a specific food that you're turned off from a horror movie.
I'll say this. I'm a man who enjoys eating more than most. And I'll eat anything. I'm not discriminatory in my food taste. Like, it's like I'll give anything a try.
Calamari, sushi, ass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All that. And I can't recall. Once in 3rd grade, I had a young man from Australia offer me Vegemite, and that wasn't pleasant. But it didn't bother me that much. So I'm just saying all this to let you know, I like food a lot.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna make
right.
I mean, as long as it's cooked well and it's delicious, I'll eat it, and you can't do much to make me not want to eat it.
For me, after I watched The Human Centipede, it really turned me off on bung.
Yeah, no more bung.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's understandable. I wonder if Tom Cruise would. He'd probably be right there with you. He's like,
ew,
yeah,
ew, David.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and also I can say, like, I thought the question was going to be, was there any horror movie that just was too much that you turned it off? And I don't think that's ever happened for me. It's only taken into old age where I'll just stop watching a movie. It's taken me well into my late 30s before I'm just like, it's not worth it finishing it. Like before I'd just be like, I'd muscle through everything that I was watching until the end. But I don't do that anymore. But that's mostly just if I'm bored and not engaged in it. It's not that I'm offended by it.
I did stop watching Caligula.
Really?
Yeah, at some point, it's just like, but why though? Like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, the first thing against it is it's just not a very good movie.
Yeah, it doesn't earn anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like nasty.
Yeah.
And yeah, when there was this giant wall, there's like this giant wall made of like twirling knives and shit, and people like buried in the ground at certain levels, and they're just getting chopped up as people watch. Like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, I don't even remember most of the stuff about Caligula. It feels like a fever dream.
And I was like, this is such a nasty idea just for the sake of it being a nasty idea. Like, I didn't Like, that was just unpleasant. So I just stopped. This is a fucking long episode.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, that's the last of our voicemails. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Horror Movie Talk. Please go to our Patreon page and consider supporting the show. Go to our sponsor, nightchannels.com, and also special thanks to Dustin Goebel for continuing to just churn out some great imagery for the podcast.
Super special thanks to Elias. The Rainy Forge? No, maybe I'm getting that incorrect. Let me double check. But in any event, Elias has been very, very kind to us.
Yeah,
and has supported us with his money and his wallet, and he wears our shirt around, and just he's been a mensch. So
even though we've asked for support on every show, it always just blows my mind when anyone signs up as a patron.
Yeah,
like it never ceases to amaze me that people are generous to our little project here, and we're up to like 85.
Yeah, and
patrons.
If we get to 100, we'll do a commentary track on a movie. And I was correct. The Rainy Forge Blacksmithy. So check him out. Toss him. If you need some knives, consider checking out his Etsy over there at Rainy Forge. So, other than that, y'all have a great day, great week, great month, great year. We love you.
We love you. Bye.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Drain addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Kiss, Bryce Hansen. Look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face huggers, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare him, no expert. And Goebel fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone, hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Train addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rumps. Nothing good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30-day shutter and jump scares ain't fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. To show them one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty eyes stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, horror movie talk. Hold on, they don't like Halloween. Fuck them.
I will suck your dick. I will suck your fucking dick. I will do it. Just join my team.